Listen, should we expect the change from true biblical conversion to last? Should we expect the changes from true biblical conversion to last? Yes, absolutely, though not without any falter. And that's an important, little footnote. Not with perfection, and not to your standard or my standard, but to God's standards, right? Proverbs 24:16, for a righteous man may, a lot of times we quote that, we say will, may, you don't have to fall, but may fall 7 times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. Listen, the thing about the righteous man, he may fall, but he's going to keep getting back up. He won't stay down. In other words, you're going to falter, you're going to have bad days, you're going to mess up, things are going to happen, and, that happens with me, that happens with you, that's normal, but I don't stay there. Frankly, I can't. The Holy Spirit won't let me. It isn't my own efforts and desire that changes that, but the Holy Spirit won't let me. I've been born again. He lives in me. And He doesn't ever go away. Even when you want Him to. You should never want Him to, but have you ever had that day? Oh, just stop. I want to do what I want to do. And the Holy Spirit's like, no, don't do that. It happens. Listen, we should expect that the change that should come from true biblical conversion, from salvation, from being born again, should stay. It should remain. It should remain. Did Jesus give us that idea? Absolutely. John 15:16. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, should stay. That's what Jesus has called us to. Listen, is this something that can be said for a born-again believer? The idea that a born-again believer is in bondage, enslaved to sin. What did Jesus come to do? Well, John 8:31, then Jesus said to those Jews who believed Him, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now they answered Him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been in bondage to anyone. That actually isn't true at all, but that was their response. How can you say you will be made free? So they were looking in terms of temporal. Jesus was speaking in spiritual and moral terms, right? So they totally missed it. But Jesus answered them, most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave to sin. Now, this whoever commits sin is the same idea that John speaks of in 1 John. It's practicing sin, right? It's sin marking the person's life. That's what he is saying there. Whoever commits sin is a slave to sin, and a slave does not abide in the house forever. You get where he's going with this? Doesn't abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you are free indeed. Does Jesus have the authority and the right to declare to you that you will never be in bondage and a slave to sin again? Does He have that authority? You better believe He has that authority. He has every bit of that authority, and that's what He just declared. If He has made you free, you are free indeed. Does that mean that sin doesn't still entice you? No, you still have your sin nature, but you've been made a new creation. And this Holy Spirit has been put in you. And you do not have to obey sin. You do not have to. Contrary to that, the unbeliever is a slave to sin. They cannot help it. They're slaves. The only way to get free from that is Christ and being born again. But this being slaves to corruption, being brought under this slavery, does that describe a Christian? Not at all. Not at all. 1 John 3:9, whoever has been born of God does not sin. For his seed remains in him, and he cannot sin because he has been born of God. This is what I was describing to you a few minutes ago. My experience. The Lord won't let me keep going in it, even if I try. Because I've been born again. If you've been born again, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly. It's like when Peter, they say, well, are you guys going to leave too, Jesus said? And he goes, where else would we go? Don't you feel that way about Jesus? It might be difficult. I might sometimes struggle through it. There's days of doubt. There's days of challenge. Where else am I going to go? You alone have the words of life. You are Lord. I cannot leave you. That's the Christian.